Look for multiple options at once and be reaching out to as many options as possible.
Housing in the Netherlands for students is organized very differently than it is in other countries. So it's not typical dorm style necessarily. Housing isn't guaranteed because it's not owned by the universities themselves. They're owned by housing agencies and private landlords, for example. So it can be a challenge to find housing. And there's no difference in Leiden or The Hague in that sense to the rest of the country. But I'm curious if you can tell us a little bit about how you found your rooms or where you're living now, and that process and how it looked for you.
So I started looking through agencies like Kamernet or Provarius, which are like real estate agencies or for students, and either for rooms or apartments. And I found my first room on Kamernet near the beach. But essentially, I wanted my own like little studio if I could. And I found the Ministry of Marine, which is an old building in The Hague, which is now a student building. So only for like PhD, master, or bachelor students. And I applied and I was on the waiting list with 200 people, but apparently I got lucky. You have to proactively wait, let's say, and look for multiple options at once and be reaching out to as many options as possible.
You should not expect to have your perfect living situation straight away. I was also looking from abroad. I was actually living in India at the time. So for me, coming here and actually going through the whole solliciteeravond and everything, so the solicitation process was not an option. I did start looking quite late because I got accepted quite late as well. That led to me having a small 8 square meter room. In my second year, I found a much nicer place, much larger room as well, thank God. But once you're here, it definitely makes the process a lot easier.
Yeah, I think for a lot of international students, I also hear, yes, you're not going to get your ideal living space in the very beginning. So maybe don't be sort of as picky and to look outside the city centers, to take all of those options, as many as possible, because you're going to have to be persistent. Definitely applying early through the housing office is really what's required to get housing through the university. There's a very limited number of rooms available there.
It's also not the end of the world if you don't get a place that's specifically in the center of Leiden. And the reason that I'm saying this is because I live 10 kilometers outside. And so every day I bike 10 kilometers here and 10 kilometers back. Yeah, it's not that bad. I listen to a podcast, make some friends in the city center so you can sleep over.
That definitely.
Do that. I'm like the worst case scenario. But I mean, the worst case scenario, you still have a place. Yeah. I still have a place.
And you can still bike to school. So I think that being flexible, knowing that there can be temporary options, that you can look for your second year or something else, these kinds of things I think are also really important to remember that you're not going to live there for 3 years if it's not your ideal situation.
Exactly.
And to definitely, be persistent. Use your network, like those friends that you might be hanging out with in the city center, talk to people, use social media channels, these kinds of things.
Make friends.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Put yourself out there.